Welcome back to Applied Economics class. So here we explain how to interpret regression model coefficients. So we are still on level model, also known as linear model. So this is case 3, where the independent variable is measured in percentage, but the dependent variable y is not. Okay, so this is a numerical example of a case where the slope, that the coefficient is greater than 0, that is when the estimated uh, beta 1 is positive. So you can see 0.03 correspond to beta 1 hat here, and it is positive because we have 1.51 plus 0.03 inflation. So inflation is measured in percentage corresponding to X, while we have exchange rate, that is Naira to $1 correspond to Y. So how do we interpret this kind of model? Very simple. So the interpretation goes thus. So we have exchange rate is positively related to inflation. Why? Because of this sign. So then interpretation is going to be on average. So on average, so because inflation is in percentage, so it's going to be that we say 1%, 1 percentage point increase in inflation is associated with 0.03 naira increase in exchange rate. So why is it naira? Because exchange rate is quoted as naira to $1. Okay, naira to $1. So if exchange rate increases, it means depreciation of naira. So if exchange rate reduces here, it implies appreciation of naira. Okay, so it's associated with 0.03 naira increase in exchange rate. Increase in exchange rate implies depreciation. Okay, of exchange rate. Okay, so and vice versa. And vice versa. That is, it can also be interpreted as a 1 percentage points decrease in inflation is associated with 0.03 naira. That is, on average, 1 percentage point decrease in inflation is associated with 0.03 naira decrease in exchange rate. So that is what vice versa implies there. What of intuition whereby the estimated beta 1, that the coefficient is less than 0, that it is negative? How do you interpret that? Very straightforward. So the interpretation goes thus: exchange rate is negatively related to interest rate. So we can write it in full or just interest rate. Okay, so which implies that on average 1% percentage point. Why is 4 percentage point? Because if interest rate is measured in percentage. Okay, 1 percentage point increase in interest rate is associated with 0.02 naira decrease in exchange rate and vice versa. So vice versa here implies that it can also be interpreted as that is 1 percentage point decrease in interest rate is associated, because the coefficient is negative, with 0.02 naira increase. So it's going to be go in opposite direction because of the sign, which is negative, in exchange rate. So this is the correct way of interpreting this kind of model.